story time, and I'm making OCs again. So today, I just thought about my past, because why not? So when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I was very young at that time, 4 or 5 year old, and well, I'm losing track because I'm watching TV, but at 4 or 5 years old, I was bored. My mom and brother had left me in the house by myself with my cousin, my Uncle Randy, outside with his friends as they were working on my mama's truck. And I was young. I was very young, as you heard. But then, when I was very young, I was very smart and stupid. But I was very smart. But the problem was I was a problematic child. So, I was like bored, so I decided to spin around, because that time we were actually moving. And I was bored. I'm like, when are they gonna finish? I'm bored. So I decided to stand up and spin around in circles. And when I got really dizzy, I decided to stop. And I laid down on the couch. Worst decision ever made. I fell off the couch, but that's not even the worst part. That wasn't the worst thing. I fell off the couch, like I said. And next thing I know, I was rushed to the hospital because there was a nail on the floor where I fell, and my skull was cracked in the back. I was crying. I was screaming. Yes, all these story times are mine. I'm the one who created them. And yeah. Whew. I was rushed to the hospital. I was scared for my life. I was screaming at the top of my lungs because I could feel my brain slipping out my skull. I could feel it sliding out. Oh no. I was scared. I was truly scared. But I'm safe. They put some kind of needle in my head. They like shot it in my brain. I don't know what they did to me, but they did something. At least I'm still alive. That's the only thing that matters, and it's a good thing. Whew. And I was happy. After that, I was happy because I was alive. I'm watching Sniper Wolf. Hold on, I need to do something right quick. If you guys can hear the story time in the background, yay! Because I'm turning up very, very high. So just so you can hear.
Tell me why people in my class are so energetic at like 8 a.m. in the morning. Okay, they're all laughing, having fun, whilst I look like an ugly rat. They're looking fresh as a daisy, just came out my freaking shower, and I look like, I don't know, I haven't slept in months. I also get cranky in the mornings because stupid school and my alarm interrupted my lovely dream with Shrek. Why do teachers literally want us to wet ourselves on our seats? Like when you're really desperate to go to the bathroom and you ask the teacher, please can I go to the bathroom? You comments from them. Like, no, you just had lunch, you should have gone then. Well, Mr. James, I didn't need it then. It's not like I can control my bladder. Come on, you're literally a biology teacher. Or, oh my god, the guilt tripping. Come on, we've literally only got 15 minutes left. You can wait. Okay then, I will literally pee on this chair in the next 15 minutes. So, don't blame me.
I absolutely hate when you're like in English class or something and your teacher is just simply explaining your task to you. But then you decide to start a very loud conversation with your best friend. She notices you and your teacher gives you that look that really says no. She's like, oh wait. You both look at her like, I'm so sorry. Was my lesson interrupting your conversation? It's fine, guys. Seriously, I'll wait. I'm like, thank you, sister, because I've still got to go through all the drama with my best friend. And last time I checked, you were teaching me in our conversation. I do not understand in the slightest how I can literally be falling asleep, right? I cannot keep my eyes open. But then when I actually get into bed and I want to go to sleep, I can't. And all of a sudden, I'm not tired. It's like I swear my days are backwards because I don't know how this works. It will take me like 3 hours to properly go to sleep. Even though 10 minutes ago, I was so tired. Sometimes it might just be the middle of the night and I will just still be laying there thinking about random things. Like how?
The story is called Birthday. One day, a girl asked her dad, "What are you going to get me for my birthday?" Her father replied, "I don't know."
These story times are not mine.
Fainted
These
and was rushed to the hospital.
were
The doctor came out and
off
told
a
the
video
dad
of
she
what
has
I'm watching on
When the
TV.
girl was lying on the bed, she said, "Dad, have they told you I'm going to die yet?" The father replied, "Yes," and left weeping. She said, "How can you be so sure?" He turned around and left. Her birthday came around where she started doing much better. She was so excited to go home and see her dad. When she went home, she read a letter that her dad had left. "My dearest daughter, if you're reading this, all went well. One day you asked me what I was giving you for your birthday. My present to you is my heart. Take care, my love. Never forget me." Her father donated his heart.
Story time about when I was 9 years old and was playing in the park, but then soon got rushed to the hospital. So we had just finished school, and I was in the school's park with my friend. We were like best friends at the time, and we used to love hanging out there together after school. My mom and her friends would also stay in the park, like sitting down on the grass, having a picnic all together. So we were just, playing in the park, having fun, and usually there was like this kind of cafe place that was like part of our school where you could buy food and stuff, drinks. So my friend went in there to get some popcorn. She told me to wait outside in the park. So I was just doing cartwheels because I loved doing them at the time. And then I suddenly tripped over this rock and fell onto this metal kind of little bar thing that was like right next to the entrance of the park. So that day I was wearing this skirt with some tights under it. And when I tripped at the time, it hurt. But it didn't hurt that much. Like when you first tripped, like it's kind of a shock more than it actually hurting. So I was just like about to stand up going for my day. And I realized I literally couldn't stand up. Like my knee hurted so much that I was practically jumping with one leg, holding onto the rails of the fence. See, at this point I was a little concerned, but not that surprised. Because usually tripping would hurt. Then this older guy asked me like, "Are you okay?" Because he saw me limping. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Because I thought I was fine. But I wasn't. I went over to my mom, barely being able to walk, and she stood up quickly and asked me, like, what's wrong? And the tights that I was wearing were, like, really dark blue. It could almost look black. So you couldn't really see all the blood that was dripping from my knee. Now I was starting to get a little scared because it was kind of starting to hurt more. So I quickly, went to the toilet and, put my tights off so I could see my knee. And it looked like a waterfall of blood. She started panicking, and so did my mom. So she quickly carried me and ran to the school nurse because I couldn't walk, so she carried me. And as you probably know, the school nurses aren't much of a help. So when we got to the school nurse, this time she didn't actually tell me to put a pack of ice on my knee, but she told us she put this plaster over it. Obviously, that didn't help. Then this other doctor came over and we told her what happened, and she told us to go straight to the hospital. What happens next is something I will probably never forget. I'm really sorry to be this person, but I'm running out of time, so come back for part 2. Part 2 of the previous story time. So the school nurse had told us to go straight to the hospital. We were still in the park though, so we had to walk all the way around to get to the exit. The thing is, I couldn't walk, so the school nurses gave us a wheelchair. So my mom was basically pushing me all around the school to get to the exit on a wheelchair. When we finally arrived to the hospital, this doctor took us in. She examined my knee, and then later, after a few minutes of looking at it, she told me that my knee had broken open. There were no broken bones, but still it was quite a severe injury since it was like an open knee and there was like blood dripping out of everywhere. The big plaster that the nurse put on my knee was literally holding on for dear life. I don't think it could keep the blood from dripping any longer. Anyways, so the doctor then told me that I had to get stitches to close my knee. I was terrified since I had never gotten stitches ever, and I was pretty young at the time. But the worst part is that they stitched my knee together without anesthesia. So I was feeling all the pain of them stitching it together, and it felt like hell. To this day, I can still not understand why they didn't give me anesthesia. Anyways, it hurt like crazy, but after she was finally done stitching it, and after all the screaming and crying, my knee was still injured. So the doctor gave us these supplies that we had to bring home to take care of my knee and treat it well until it gets better. Anyways, the good part of all of this is I got ice cream after, so that's great. Oh, and my friend, the one that I was at the park with, she got popcorn, and then she told me to wait outside, and that's when it all happened, right? So when she got out of the cafe with her popcorn, she couldn't find me. Obviously, she looked all over the school and still couldn't find me. She was super worried and practically told the whole school, and everybody in the park was looking for me. So when I got back to school, I told her everything that happened. And since that day, I couldn't really walk, so I had like these crutches. Good thing I got to use the elevator of the school. That's really VIP, because nobody gets to ever use the elevator of the school. Anyways, that's the story. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more story times. Also, I changed the display name of my Roblox user, so it's now Stories with Selena. So if you see me in a game and it says Stories with Selena, it's most probably me. So don't hesitate to come say hi. And my Roblox user is rollerskate099. Yes, don't judge it. I made it when I was like super young. Anyways, yeah, that's it. Bye guys.
Pooped on my boyfriend's bed after I found out he was cheating on me, and I lit his car on fire. Disclaimers no story time was sent to me on Instagram. My boyfriend and I met in high school. He chased me for about 3 years. This man would tell me every single day that he was in love with me. This was before Instagram, so he would contact me every single day through Facebook. He would send me his favorite songs. He would write me poems. I mean, you can tell this guy was totally obsessed, right? After 4 years of this, I finally said yes to a date. The only reason I kept saying no was because I knew somebody that had dated him, and they told me that he was crazy. I just didn't want to believe it because he seemed so perfect over Facebook. At the time, I was living in Manhattan, so I told him that I wanted the date to be in the city. So he took me to watch a show on Broadway. First off, I was really impressed that he could even afford the tickets because they were to a very expensive show. And before the show, he took me to a really nice dinner. And he proceeded to order everything on the menu. 5 appetizers, 4 main entrees, and a bunch of drinks. The bill came out to about $600. I offered to help him pay, but he said no, as he should. The entire date was really amazing. The only thing that I know now was a red flag is that he was kind of rude to the waiter. Of course, I didn't mention it. Fast forward a few months, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. Now, to be honest, I was dating a few other guys at the time, and they were all really great. But none of them wanted a serious relationship, and that's what I was looking for. So I finally said yes to my ex. Around that time, I started competing in pageants, and I got very far. Went to Miss USA. Can you guess who I am? We love this. Part 2 is I pooped on my boyfriend's bed after I found out he was cheating on me and lit his car on fire. Disclaimers no story time was sent to me on Instagram. After he asked me to be his girlfriend, I decided to start competing in pageants. And I got pretty far. I won my state and went on to Miss USA. At that point, my ex and I had been together for about a year. To my face, he always told me that he was so proud of me. He loved that I was so dedicated and disciplined. To get ready to compete, I would work out twice a day. I also had a bunch of classes and held down a full-time job. Here's when things start getting complicated. One night, our friends had to get together at their house. Our entire friend group were there, and I invited my best friend. Now, my best friend has always had my back. He is my ride or die. Her and I went to the kitchen to get some drinks, and when she went back to where my boyfriend was standing, she overheard the conversation he was having with another friend. Apparently, my boyfriend was telling the other friend that I was crazy, that he thought I had eating disorders because I would work out so much, that I thought I was better than everybody else because I was competing for Miss USA. My best friend ran over to the kitchen to tell me everything she heard. At first, I thought, are you sure he wasn't joking? She said no, he was completely serious. I was really hurt. Instead of waiting for the party to be over, I confronted him him right then and there. Asked him if he was talking bad about me, and then he said, no, of course not. And I told him the whole conversation that my best friend overheard. And I told him that I was the one that overheard the conversation. That's when he started gaslighting me. Said that I was overreacting, that I had completely twisted his words. Asked him exactly what he said, and he told me he couldn't remember. Asked him point blank if he felt envious of me, and he said no. He said, you have to get over yourself if you think you're that important. Part 3 is that I pooped on my boyfriend's bed after I found out he was cheating on me and lit his car on fire. This camera's not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. After I caught him talking bad about me, he denied everything. And he also told me that I needed to get over myself. I grabbed my best friend and went home. That means my boyfriend stayed at the party by himself. Well, guess what he does? He goes out of his way to find a girl to hook up with. And I know this now because a few of my friends who were at the party saw everything go down. Apparently, after I left, he started scouting all the girls. He would go up to each one of them and talk to them. Finally, he went upstairs with one of them. I mean, he couldn't even go somewhere else. He had to do it in front of all of our friends. Multiple people watched this all happen. And most of them knew that we had gotten into a fight before. One of the girls that was at the party actually messaged me and told me that my boyfriend was in the bedroom with another girl. So I ran back to the party. He was already downstairs at that point, but I asked him if it was true. At this point, he had a lot to drink. That's when he starts word vomiting, telling me that he had hooked up with girls that were way better than I was, and that I was so consumed with my pageant competition and that I was too skinny. Then he just started listing all of the girls that he had slept with, and 2 of them were my friends who were at the party. What I did next is probably not the best idea, but I did it. I grabbed a bottle of alcohol and went outside with the lighter. I poured it all over his car and set it on fire. Then I got back into my car with my best friend and went to his apartment. And it just so happens that I needed to poop at the time, so I thought just to do it in his bed. So I squatted over his bed and did my business. Then he messaged me telling me that he was going to press charges on me for his car. Luckily, nobody told on me, so he had 0 proof. And luckily, his car was fine. A few months later, he messaged me apologizing. He said that I was the best thing that ever happened to him, but I ignored his messages. No, I didn't win Miss USA, but I'm proud of myself for what I did to him. Bye.
My elementary school teacher was racist. Story time. So when I was in elementary school, I had this teacher, and we're going to name her Miss C, which is just the short version of her actual name. Anyways, while we were learning about slavery, she thought it was a good idea to do this little experiment. She separated the class into 2 groups, slaves and owners. And anyone who was like brown skin or darker was a slave. And anyone who wasn't was an owner. Now, if you thought that was bad, it gets worse. She gives the owners fake money to bid on us, and anybody who had the highest bid gets that person for the day. And obviously, I was a slave, and I got bought by this girl who we're going to name Sabrina. And Sabrina had me doing all types of stuff for her, carrying her lunch tray, carrying her book bag, doing her classwork. To make things worse, if a slave wasn't doing something that the owner wanted them to do, they would get in real trouble by the teacher. Like extra work, no recess, no snack. So like I said, this teacher was taking this project or experiment very seriously. And I guess at that age, we really didn't understand what was going on or peep how off this experiment was. But the one thing I did notice is that the teacher had said that the next day that we were going to swap roles. So slaves were going to be owners and then owners were going to be slaves. But that never happened. And when we asked about it, she said, that's not really realistic though. So we're not going to do that.
Am I wrong for saying my sister probably has a different dad? My mom and my dad are both super white and super blonde. My brother is 29 male and 23 male, and me, 26 female, are also super white and super blonde. My sister Nicole, 20 female, has pretty dark skin and 3C natural hair. I wish I could just assume that Nicole has darker skin and curlier hair due to some strange genetic glitch, but I can't. My mom used to have a very close friend who would visit when my dad was gone, and he was black. When Nicole was born, her friend stopped coming around and my parents spent a lot of time fighting. Nicole knows nothing about my mom's special friend. Anyway, we were all eating dinner at my parents' house over the weekend, and Nicole mentioned that she wanted to take a 23andMe genetics test. Ah, she's 23 and doesn't know that she is not her father's biological daughter. Okay, my parents got really uncomfortable and told her not to do it. My mom started saying that those tests were a government control mechanism, which is something she would never normally say. It developed into a fight between Nicole and my parents ended up storming into the kitchen. Nicole tried to get me and my brothers to side with her. She kept going on about how crazy it was that our mom thought the DNA tests were some sort of conspiracy and that she was adamant she was going to take one. I said, all right, you can take one, but you should know you'll probably find out some stuff you don't want to know. That just made her more angry, and she asked me what she would find out. I said, you'll probably find out that you have a different dad than you've always thought. But she got really mad and went into the kitchen to confront mom and dad. There was a lot of screaming, and finally, our mom told us all the truth and screamed that Nicole probably has a different dad. My dad already knew, but the conversation really hurt him and he went to take a drive. Nicole turned to me and started saying that I was such an asshole for saying she might have a different dad, and if I hadn't said it, our mom wouldn't have had to say it like that. I said that it was her fault that she went and bothered my mom about it and that she couldn't take no for an answer about the DNA tests. Honestly, I do not care if Nicole has a different dad. She's always been my sister and she always will be my sister, but the way she found out was terrible. Even still, I resent the fact that she's calling me an apple worm. So I wanted to ask here, my take on stuff like this is that you should never hide stuff from your kids. I think at a certain age, both parents should have been like, you know what? She's going to grow up. She's eventually going to find out. And we want to make sure she finds out on our terms. So either be 15, 18, whatever that age you guys decide to tell her. But I think it's wrong to deceive your kids and make them, like you're gaslighting them by saying, why would you take this test? Like, what are you trying to find out?
If you ever feel lonely, don't do what he did. Skylar was living in an old house in the countryside with his parents when he found a mirror in the closet. But when he looked into the mirror, he saw a girl standing behind him. She said her name was Nana, and you can only see her through the mirror. One day, Nana said, "Come over here and play with me." And Skylar promised he would, but he never did. He graduated, moved out, and got married. But one day, years later, something changed. As fate would have it, Skylar came back to the house. And as an adult, Skylar convinced himself that Nana was just his imaginary friend, but he was wrong. Him and his pregnant wife went to his parents' house for a visit and decided to look at some of his old stuff. That's when Skylar found the mirror again. Instantly, he remembered Nana. And through the mirror in the very back, a dark shadow began to form the face of Nana. She began walking towards Skylar through the mirror and said, "Why didn't you come back? I've been waiting for you." Skylar didn't know what to say. He was shocked. Then Nana said, "Come over here. Let's play forever." Skylar said, "No, I have a wife now and a baby soon. I can't." Nana looked upset. She paused for a while before saying, "I see. You're all grown up now. If you don't want to play with me, I'll have to find someone else. Someone just like you." And suddenly, Nana disappeared. Skylar went on with his day, but that evening, his wife had some terrible news. She had suffered a miscarriage. Then Skylar finally understood what Nana meant by "someone just like you."
Today, I went to Walmart with my mom. While my mom and I were shopping around Walmart, we realized that there was this lady following us all over the store. Any aisle we would be at, she would be behind us. We're going to call the lady that was following us Vicky. So eventually, Vicky stopped following my mom and I, and she approached us, and she was like, "Hey, I'm an agent for big agencies, and I can make your daughter a star." Long story short, Vicky ended up inviting my mom and I to this event that would make me famous. And she asked my mom if we could go. My mom felt really sketch about it, so she was like, "Hey, no, I'm sorry, we're going to have to pass on this." So Vicky ended up walking away. She was very mad, and she started crying when my mom said no. So after saying no to Vicky, she ended up following us again, but this time she had a knife with her while she was following us. So my mom and I decided to tell the security to walk us out to our car because of this Vicky girl, and she had a knife in her hand, and oh, we made it to the car safe. And then when we got home, guess who we see? Vicky was in my front yard, but it does not end there. This is the best part. She was outside of my house holding my cat. I don't know how she even got my address because she got there before my mom and I did. My cat was inside. I don't know how she got hurt, and we saw her, and I was like, "Dude, let her go." I started crying because I love my cat. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. And then Vicky starts crying, like, "You literally broke into my house, and you're..."
Story of the time I realized I was adopted. So my adoption was an open adoption, which means that my parents didn't keep it a secret from me. And I've always known my birth family, well, on my mom's side. But even though I was given this information when I was young, it definitely didn't register with me. The first time I was confused about this, I was in first grade. We were making Mother's Day cards, and I remember being really confused because I know my birth mom, but I have my actual mom that I call mom at my house. Hold that thought, guys. I hit 2 million followers on TikTok. Anyway, I raised my hand and I asked my teacher, do I give it to my birth mom or my real mom? And she was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I was just embarrassed, so I said, "Never mind." And then another time, my mom was like, "Your sister's birth was so easy." And I was like, "Really? How was mine?" She was like,
She stapled a note to the back of my head. Story time. So when I was in high school, there was this girl named Crystal, and Crystal had a huge crush on me. Unfortunately, I didn't like her back because, I'm gay. But that did not stop her from trying to date me. And every day she would leave me a note on my desk asking me out. And I would always say, "Sorry, Crystal, I'm gay." And she would just be like, "Okay, maybe for now you are, but tomorrow you might not be." So naturally, it started to become extremely frustrating. So the last time this happened, I went up to her in the hallway and was like, girl, look, this is not gonna happen. I'm sorry, I do not like girls. I do not like you. I am not interested. Like, play with somebody else, girl. Don't play with me. And as I was walking away, I felt something hit me in the back of the head and it stung so bad. So I reached back there to see what it was, and it was a freaking note that she wrote me stapled to the back of my head.
For good after school routine. These are things that I did that overall just helped me have more free time when I was at home. That's something that I extremely value, so hopefully this helps. I know you're tired and I know you just want to chill, but right when you get home, do all of your homework. Or just as much as you can. Get the big stuff out of the way, the stuff that takes the most time. Or if you take the bus home, do it then. Or maybe you have a little free time after school, just do it so that you can have a little bit more free time. And you don't have to worry about it as much. Next, eat a snack. Probably had lunch at school, or you probably need something to carry you over till dinner. Homework and studying takes energy, so go ahead and eat. If you have any chores to do, go ahead and do that. Whether that's taking out the dog, cleaning your room, your night's going to be so much more relaxing if you don't have anything to worry about. And if you can get in the habit of doing this, like right after you finish your homework or right after you eat a snack, once you get home, it's going to get done. If you don't have chores, pick up around the house and see a mess. You live there too, unless they're treating you like Cinderella, but to each their own case. Change out of your school clothes. This is especially true if you had to wear a uniform, but even if you didn't, I recommend just changing out of your school clothes and putting on something way more comfy. Something you can lounge around in and just be at home and be comfortable. Mind you that you're at home and that you can dress as you please. Okay, once you've done all of that, have fun. Indulge in whatever hobbies you actually enjoy. Or find some new ones, or hang with friends, play those video games, finish that show, read those books, draw, scrapbook, tap dance, make music, code. Do what you want with your time because you've done everything else. If you don't have a job, really take advantage of your free time. Get good at things, or just enjoy what you want to do. Listen, if you like singing and you're not good, it's alright. Just do it. And then there's dinner. My evening routine is up if you guys want to go check it out. Good luck and fun more.
Story time. So there was this one girl in 7th grade. Let's call her Lexi. Lexi was a pick-me girl. She was always like, boys are less drama, you know. And Lexi used to sit next to me in class. And I was throwing a Halloween party later this week. I decided to write a list of what we're going to be doing at the party in class while Lexi's sitting next to me. She looks over at my notebook and sees it. And she was like, I'm invited, right? I looked at her and I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to tell her she's not. She got really excited and was like, I'm going to be wearing a devil costume. Actually, no, I want to be the angel. And at the end of class, she told me to send her the location and information on her Instagram. And I remembered that Lexi had a lot of spam accounts and accounts she doesn't use. So I decided to send her the information on one of the accounts she doesn't use. 2 days later, I got a message from Lexi. She sent me a message from one of her real accounts. Then she told me that I forgot to send her the info for the party. I told her that I did send the location, but on her other account, and that I didn't know she stopped using it. Lexi didn't believe me, so I sent her a screenshot. Then I told her that since she didn't confirm, she can't come to the party because I had a limit of 20 people. Lexi got really mad and started calling me mean stuff, that I'm rude and forgetful. And then Lexi blocked me not just on Instagram, but on Snapchat and TikTok. Of course, I didn't care and just went on with my day. Fast forward to the next day, which was the day of my party. Things were going great. Me and my friends had an amazing time. But after an hour, I got a phone call from a random number. I didn't answer, number one, because the music was too loud and I was too busy with my friends. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes pass, and that number calls me again. Here's part 3. So I handed my phone to my friend and let her answer the phone. She told me that there was a person waiting for me in front of the house. I, of course, didn't want to go outside alone, so I let my friend Jason come out with me. As soon as we arrived to the front of the house, we see Lexi and her mother sitting next to her in her car. I just stood there in disbelief, not knowing what to do. Lexi got out of the car, looked at me and rolled her eyes, then looked at Jason and started talking to him. She was like, hey Jason, do you miss me? Jason, can I come in? And Jason didn't know what to say, but he said yes. And Lexi had the audacity to show up to my party after she blocked me on all of my social media. Lexi stayed with Jason and Jason's friend. I couldn't enjoy my night anymore after that.
In my opinion, miraculous is a tiny bit overrated. I mean, sis, don't get me wrong, I ain't no hater, but it's the same in every
it took me 21 years for me to find out when you bite your bottom lips, you can't breathe. You're not breathing when you bite your bottom lips.
Damn, you look sexy when you do that. Let me kiss you through the phone.
Teachers be like, oh, you can't wear makeup, you can't wear jewelry, you can't dress how you want, you can't paint your nails, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And if you live in the UK, you'll know that on the 8th of March, we're going back to school after the lockdown. Over that lockdown, I've been wearing makeup, I've been wearing whatever clothes I want, I've been painting my nails, I've been wearing jewelry. Has it affected my learning in any way? No. And then teachers come back saying like, oh, but we need to set the boundaries somewhere. We'll set the boundaries somewhere. Make boundaries. But like, let teenagers express themselves. Wearing a necklace will not affect my learning. All of a sudden, oh no, I painted my nails white. Oh my god, all of a sudden, wait, what's 2 plus 2? I don't even know. Let me take the nail polish off. Right, now I know what 100 times 1 million is. Oh, yippee!
So we all know every school has a bully. At my school, our bully was Brayton Smith. Everyone was scared of him because he was known to enjoy beating people up. Sometimes it seemed like even adults were scared of him too. I was terrified of Brayton, so I just got smart and became his friend. It wasn't always easy being Brayton's friend though. He punched me for no reason. I had to laugh at all of his jokes or he'd give me the look. And he always ate my lunches. But it was worth it. At least I didn't have to worry about him beating me up like other kids did. But one day, Brayton and our classmate Zai started teasing each other. Zai jokes were so funny, and I chuckled at one of them. I looked at Brayton, and Brayton was giving me the look. He told me to come here, and I did because he's my friend. Then he put a pencil on his shoulder and said, knock the pencil off. I thought it was a joke, so I knocked the pencil off.
911, what's your emergency?
I think I ate someone.
I'm sorry?
I'm on a spiritual fitness retreat at the big closing feast, and our instructor, Tony, said that this meal was going to be like the climax of his service to our bodies.
Uh-huh.
And so we're all eating like a lot of meat, and then I realized, like, where's Tony?
Okay.
So that's all for today, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!